Hello and welcome from across the Media Multiverse. Today I am going to have a look at the 1979 to 1980 series of Doctor Who. This is a series that is still today very controversial and divisive amongst Doctor Who fans, and certainly older Doctor Who fans. Generally, the questions to be asked about this particular series, Series 17, is: was it comedic genius? Was it embarrassing pantomime? Or was it a hidden masterpiece? This series consisted of the following stories, including Sharda. Sharda, although unmade at the time due to a BBC strike, it has since been released on numerous occasions, the most recent being an animated version where the animation plugged in the bits that the BBC were unable to film. Before I start, a quick word. People who've seen my other videos know that I try not to reveal plot twists, as I like you to enjoy the programme as much as I did. In this video, I can't really do that because it is the plot twists that form the basis of most of what I'm going to say. However, I am going to keep any twists at the barest minimum possible to make my point, but without spoiling your enjoyment. This series was scripted by Douglas Adams. This is the same Douglas Adams who found fame with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. His comedy style and one-liners are literally everywhere in the series if you listen out for them. There is an inventiveness in this series, which is basically two friends and a robotic dog travelling the universe, looking, learning and having fun. This series has that same fun element as The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Overall, this is a very entertaining series. Embarrassing pantomime is probably the coming in point for most Doctor Who fans, certainly the older ones, and there are plenty of examples of this. The Doctor making fun of the Daleks by taunting them to climb up a wall, Erato and Erato's design, Soul Deed in the Horns of Nymon, the Doctor being ripped apart in The Nightmare of Eden. There is a general over-the-top humour and acting that makes this series look more like a children's programme rather than a family entertainment programme which the whole family can enjoy. In 1979, the UK had only 3 television channels. 2 were owned by the BBC, the other by regionalised independent television or ITV. ITV was the main challenger to BBC One. Between the 10th of August to the 24th of October 1979, ITV suffered a prolonged strike, forcing people to watch BBC as there was no alternative. In Doctor Who terms, this meant that Destiny of the Daleks and City of Death didn't have any real competition. At the time, BBC Two was seen as a niche channel. And there is a school of thought that says that many people saw these episodes and decided that it was just too childish for adults. I remain unconvinced with this argument. Firstly, City of Death, with its inventive script and James Bond style villainy, is seen as one of the best Doctor Who stories ever made. Secondly, in terms of ratings, even with the first episodes being unchallenged, the series held on to around 10 million viewers. Surely, once we got to Creature from the Pit and ITV was back in action and the strike was over, figures would have plummeted at that point overall if people weren't happy with what they'd been seeing in the preceding 8 episodes. Hidden masterpiece are words that are not usually used by fans for this particular series. But I find that there are two strands that run thematically through the stories. The first is judging by appearances, which could be rather apt for this particular series. And the second one is that all the stories are a matter of survival. So let's start with appearances. In the first story of the series, Destiny of the Daleks are evil. The Daleks are the biggest bad in the Doctor Who universe. So the humanoid Motherlands are the goodies, right? Not so. Not only are the Motherlands robots, they're villainous ones too. And before we even get to that, there's Romana's regeneration as she takes on the form of a princess she met on a previous visit to another planet. This carries through to City of Death. French aristocrat Count Scarleone is not human. And not only is he not a human, he's out to destroy humanity. In Creature from the Pit, we get a fairly traditional story. It's set on another planet, but in a pseudo-historical looking set that we would recognise. And it has humanoids that are threatened by a terrible creature. But in this story, it is the humanoids who are the monsters, not the creature. Nightmare of Eden has the mandrels. But they are there to scare the television audience behind the sofa rather than affect a story that is basically about a car crash, or a spaceship crash, insurance and drugs. In The Horns of Nimon, Tika is confident in Wimpy Seth's heroics to save the day. And indeed, he was braver than he thought. And in the same story, Soldeed thought that he was tricking the Nimon into arming Skonos, whereas it was the other way round and the Nimon were secretly invading his planet. And even Sharda, the unmade story, gets in on the act. That nice, cuddly, lovable Cambridge University professor, Professor Chronotis, isn't human. He is a Time Lord, and a particularly nasty one at that. And as I said earlier, there is another theme that runs through this series, and that is one of survival. Every character, even the villains, are doing things for their survival. Scaroth of the Jaggeroth wants to stop the creation of humanity because he wants to keep his race, the Jaggeroth, alive. Lady Adrasta keeps the ambassador alive in the pit as she needs the metal. The ambassador, Irato, just wants to escape from that pit where he's held prisoner. The Daleks resurrect Frost after centuries of suspended animation because they are in retreat and fear for the Daleks' ultimate survival. Soldeed makes a deal with the Nimon as he wants to further his planet. These are all reasons for and the motivations for characters and looking for survival. Despite its inventiveness and rather dark themes, the series remains controversial, and this is due to the production values. As for me, of the 3 questions I asked at the beginning, I am a fan overall of the series, and I see it as a flawed masterpiece. In cookery terms, all the ingredients are there. The chefs and the cooks are also on board, but perhaps a better kitchen was needed. And that is my thought on series 17 of Doctor Who. What do you think of it? Did you enjoy it? Did you think it's a lot of camp nonsense? Please let me know. So until next time, may your news be good news and happy times and places. Farewell.